All right, everybody, so welcome back to another episode of Colton Posey Fishing. So today we're going to be talking about the fall transition, kind of what these fish are doing during the fall transition. You may have already been through the fall transition, or you may be in the middle of the fall transition, or you may just be starting the fall transition. But either way, we're kind of going to cover all three bases and kind of like what I like to do, especially during the movement of the fish and the migration that happens and stuff. But either way, stay tuned. It's something you don't want to miss. All right, so let's talk about the fall transition. So kind of like what goes on during this time. So if you watch my fall turnover video, the bottom of the lake or river system, whatever, and the top, the surface temps swap, okay? And there is that time where it kind of meets, okay? Sorry, it's really windy out here. So, if there's a little bit of audio disturbance, it's just part of it. But either way, it mixes in, and then it creates a more stable environment, and it happens in the spring also. It just makes these fish roam, and they roam a lot. Now, with that being said, I want you to remember one thing that I always talk about. You will always have fish on the main lake and in the creeks. They live there, they die there, they spawn there, they do everything there. Some fish do not migrate. Some fish spawn on the main lake, some fish spawn in the creek, and they never leave the creek once they hatch. So you can kind of catch those fish in between. You've just got to figure out exactly which ones are going to be easier to catch for the day. So with that being said, maybe you're just now getting into that fall weather pattern, okay? Maybe your days are in the mid 60s, mid 70s, anywhere in between that range. Nights are cooling off and stuff, but you're definitely in that fall transition. What I like to do, it doesn't matter if I go like to the lake I'm at today and I'm catching fish in the mouths of the creeks. When I go to another lake, I'm going to fish the mouth and work my way to the backs of the creeks and pockets, simply because at any point in time those fish can migrate quickly, okay? This pocket right here that we're in, it's maybe 100 yards. So I mean, it would be nothing for a fish to move from there all the way to the back, right? Just a few minutes. So with that being said, I want to cover that water every time that I come in, and doing it efficiently is the key. So today we've got tons of wind, so using stuff like lipless crankbaits, swim bait was definitely the key today, as y'all see in the video. But either way, just cover a lot of water quickly and kind of find those fish that are active. Like I always say, I'm not looking for the smartest fish that's hungry. I'm looking for the dumb hungry ones, okay? So the more water that I cover, the more my chances are that I'm going to catch those fish that are a little bit easier to catch, or those fish who hadn't been pressured near as much. So let's say you're in the middle of the fall transition. You're going to be in that perfect time where you can catch fish on the main, you can catch them kind of in between the creeks, and you can catch them all the way at the backs of the creeks. There's really nowhere you can't catch them, but you kind of got to figure out exactly what they're feeding on. Are they feeding on shad, or they're feeding on brim, or they're feeding on crawfish? And typically it's all three. So you just kind of have to plan between those three baits. So when you're rigging up, when you're deciding on colors, kind of match all three of those patterns and throw them a little bit in between areas and see which one they get targeted on. Today they got targeted on the electric shad swim bait. We got tons of wind, and we're just trying to cover a lot of water efficiently. And with the wind blowing as hard as it is, you can't sit there and just throw a worm or throw a shaky head or something like that. It's just going to blow your line all over the place. So we got to use moving baits. So anytime you get those real heavy winds in the fall, go to your moving baits. Your hard jerk baits are great. The Slash 80 by Thunderhawk, that's a great option. The Slash 110 is a great option. I've been using the Slash 110 a lot here lately. Swim baits, jerk baits, flutter spoons still. Even you go to your smaller spoons, or go bigger spoons depending on what kind of shad is in your fishery. That's the biggest thing I always tell y'all. Make sure you're paying attention to what kind of shad are in your fishery. Just because you see me using something doesn't mean that you need to go buy that exact color or buy that exact bait. Try to mimic what I'm mimicking on my lakes that I'm fishing. If I'm trying to use a bait to mimic threadfin shad, but you got gizzard shad, you need to buy a bigger bait and something that looks more like the gizzard shad, not necessarily like a bunch of threadfin, okay? So make sure you're paying real close attention to that. But either way, let's say you're kind of getting out of that fall transition. Those fish are going to move from the backs, the fish that have transitioned to the backs, out to the main, unless you get a lot of rain. So you start getting a lot of rain coming in, and maybe you're fishing these pockets and stuff that have run-ins in the back of it. They're still going to stay around that area. And here's the key. When they move out in the winter and they go out to their winter haunts, when rain comes in during the winter, they're going to go right back to the closest run-in that they can. So, you know, play your cards accordingly, but during this time is a great time to be on the water. This is a great time, not, in my opinion, not necessarily to catch your personal best, but it is a great time to catch decent fish and catch a lot of fish, okay? Last year, if you watched my Bald Fall video, the guy that's fishing with me today, I mean, we caught, what, maybe 60 fish in a couple hours. I mean, it was just left and right, left and right. I mean, it's a great time to be on the water, have a lot of fun, especially if you got kids. Carry your kids with you. I mean, they will have a ball. But you know, don't get to overthinking everything. Keep everything really simple. You know, if you're trying to catch bass that are feeding on threadfin or gizzards or something like that, try to mimic those shad and chase those fish, okay? Because they're going to be roaming a lot. Now, if you go up in these pockets and creeks and stuff, you know, maybe they're not chasing threadfin. Maybe you're on a real rocky bank and, you know, hey, they should be eating on crawfish. So, you know, play with your crawfish colors, your green pumpkins, your black and blues, your oranges, your reds, stuff like that. You know, just mess around with it. You'll get it dialed in. Be patient. Take your time. Make smart casts. Make sure your boat's positioned right. That's one thing I see a lot of people not really do this time of year. You know, pay close attention to how your boat's positioned. Get good angles, especially in the creek where, you know, maybe if there's a point that comes out, position your boat here where you can throw down that point and bring that bait off the edge of the point while you're bringing it down the side of the point. Just little stuff like that, and you'll catch a lot more fish. Guys, I really appreciate it. Also, we're partnered with Thunderhawk. So, you know, Thunderhawk lures, they make rods, all different kinds of lures and stuff. If you're interested in their products, click my link on my page. Once you place your order, you know, go to the discount part, type in CPosey20, you'll get 20% off, and it helps me out a whole lot, helps those guys out a whole lot. Also, we're partnered with Salty Captain now, so if you watch my Salty Captain review video, they make all kinds of cleaning products, great, eco-friendly, super quick, wash my entire boat from top of the gunnel all the way to the trailer tires with a musket for, you know, in 8 minutes. So it takes no time, great products, great stuff, great people. Click my link on the page. Type in Colton 15, you know, when you go to checkout, and you'll get 15% off. Helps me out a whole lot, helps those guys out a whole lot. Out of the way, guys, if this video helps you at all, make sure to like, subscribe, comment if you have any questions, or if you just want to talk fishing, drop a comment. It helps me out. Also, we got merchandise. So, you know, if you want some cool hats, cool shirts, something like that, go to my Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's got all that stuff listed. Shoot me a message, $25 shipped to your door. And we got members only also. So, you know, $2 a month, you get my content early, and you can ask your questions early, all that good stuff. Helps me out. If you can't do it, I completely understand. But either way, thank you for stopping by. See you next time.